Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Austin Madison, and this is the very first podcast in the Austin Madison podcast. Very original title, I know. So I think for this podcast, I think I'm just gonna talk about a new subject every time I do a podcast. So for this one, I'm gonna be talking about the movie It Follows. And if you didn't see the movie It Follows, you didn't miss much. It was pretty terrible. It is a horror movie that the whole premise is based around this supernatural force that follows you, and then if it touches you, you die. So it's like an STD, essentially. Now, the whole thing about this supernatural force is that it can be a stranger in the crowd, or it can be a complete stranger. But it is always walking towards you, and it doesn't think, and it doesn't feel. It follows. So that was the premise of the film, and it's already stupid. Already the dumbest thing I've heard in quite some time. It says it can be a person you know or a complete stranger, but it always seems to be a naked woman. That's 90% of the time it's a naked woman. There's a scene in the movie where the girl who originally is being followed, she has sex with this guy, and then now it's following the guy. And then she sees the supernatural force break into the guy's house, and then she runs over there, like any white person would in a horror movie. I never got that. I mean, like, I'm not the first person to say that at all, but they're like, oh my god, there's a monster! Let's go follow it and try to reason with it. That'll get us ahead in life. And it always ends horribly. So she runs into this house, runs up the stairs, sees the ghost knocking on the guy's door, and she's like, no, don't go in there, no. The ghost turns around, and it's just this, largely breasted lady, to put not too fine a point on it. And she turns around, and then they just close up right on her chest. I was like, oh, okay. Not sure why he did that, unless it was to make up for lack of plot. But, you gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. There was a scene at the beginning of the movie where they introduced the thing being following people. And it was this girl, and she's in full lingerie, and she's wearing high heels. And she runs out of her house, and she stands in the middle of the street, just looking down the street, and there's nothing there. And then she's just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And then this lady behind her is unpacking groceries, and she was like, ma'am, are you okay? And the girl's like, yeah, I'm fine. And the lady unpacking groceries is like, okay, and then just keeps unpacking her groceries from her car, and then she just continues on with her day. I was like, wow, okay, person that I would never trust in any crisis ever. You seem very not concerned about anything that happens around you. And then the next shot, the girl who was screaming in her underwear, she's dead. Of course. That always happens. And then it switches to the main girl who is getting followed throughout the entirety of the movie. She's always like complaining to her friends. They're like, God, it's really, the only way to get rid of it is to have sex with somebody. And then her friend, who you could clearly tell who has been her best friend forever and has always wanted to have sex with her, but he's never been able to do it because he's always been the best friend. He was like, I'll do it. I will have sex with you, so this thing will follow you, or will follow me, and not you. Now, I just think that this guy, he just wanted to have sex with her. And he wasn't thinking ahead like any guy would. But, he wasn't thinking about the repercussions, which happens to every guy. I mean, look at any person who has ever gotten in trouble for that. But, you gotta think ahead. That's what I'm trying to tell you. If you gather one thing from this podcast, think ahead. But anyway, I get off track. Their plan for this, to kill this thing, they're going to go to their childhood hangout spot, which is this pool, and they're going to plug in a whole bunch of electronics and then lure the ghost into this pool and then throw all of the electronics into the pool to electrocute it. Yeah, genius idea, no, right? And they're walking up to this place. They're like, there it is. And it's this huge, dilapidated, just disgusting building. It's got broken glass everywhere, and there's just vines growing on the side of the building. There's broken doors everywhere. So like, alright, let's go inside. And then they go inside, and the inside is just as worse as the outside. There's just broken tables that haven't been used in years. Everything's shattered. Everything's dirty. There's like families of rats living in there. So many, just disgusting. And then they're walking down the hallway, and then they go into the pool, and the pool area is pristine. There is nothing wrong with this. The water is cleaned and filtered. They sweep up around there. They mop there. There's fresh towels. They clean the seats. I was like, whoever owns this building, they need to pay more attention to the rest of their building and put the same amount of effort to the rest of the building as they do with the pool. Because that's just ridiculous. And I don't know why that would happen. Like, why is this theoretical landlord only paying so much attention to the pool and not the rest of his building? I'm sure there's several health violations that this man is going to encounter. But anyway, I digress. And the music for this movie is just terrible. It is like this weird 80s synthetic, like, it sounds like if Seinfeld did like a Halloween episode. Like it's so, like, you remember in Seinfeld they're like, but it's like way more darker. They're like, it's just terrible. If you guys have seen it, I'm sorry. If you haven't seen it, I hope that you don't see it and save your time and money. But, you know, to each his own. And, yeah. So, you know, do what you can to avoid this film. But, I believe in you. So, good luck. I don't know how tost this anymore. So,